most reliable person I know. Start of the season, you had your binder, you had your schedule, you had your sign out sheets, you had your clearance cards. Everything was there, and you could always count on her to have transportation done, the travel list sent out if you got it to her on time. She did everything. But also, if you need supplies at the middle school, you go to Miss Brown. If you need to get into the safe, you go to Miss Brown. If you want to hear stories about skinwalkers, you go to Miss Brown. She told me a couple the other day, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But outside of being just a professional, she's just a great person. And anybody who knows Lou knows that. She's just such a strong, amazing woman. Just the adversities and the strength that she has shown through her life is just amazing. And it's a true honor to be her friend.
I always start crying at these receptions. Okay, we're gonna also have Monica Gaylor and Lee Gunther is gonna shower some praise.
Good evening. Ms. Gaylor is not able to be here tonight, but we do need to recognize her because she is finishing up 30 years. The last 3 being in our district as a ceramics teacher. Her skill base is unmatched when it comes to the ceramics world and all that she offers the kids. And if you ever have the opportunity to go down in her classroom and see some of the projects that she's got these kids to create from the beginning of the year to the end, you'd be completely amazed by it. So we certainly appreciate Monica Gaylor's time with our district. Thank you.
Okay, and then Johnson Fowler and Happy will do the showering the praise, right? Thank you.
I don't like doing these kind of things, but for Mr. Fowler, I will. It's hard to believe that Johnson Fowler is retiring because he's too young at heart. We are very grateful for all the work that Johnson has done over the 18 years that he's been with the district. He will be sincerely missed, and the corny jokes that he enlightens our custodian meetings with. Johnson's very good at cleaning and using the carpet machines and hard floors. He would be greatly missed for that because he's the expert here. We will miss the moments we share, especially the humor, the chats, and our evening walks. Of course, we do work at night. I can't believe I will be working as you are napping. Thank you for continuing to care about our students and staff. We wish the best of luck in your new adventures and in your retirement. As for me, I will miss getting on to you and pushing you on, and we are in a section of the school that we are less, seen and recognized, but those that you have recognized, thank you very much. And thank you to you, Johnson.
Thank you. Okay, thank you to our retirees. We know you've done a lot for our children, whether seen or unseen. And just want to thank you for all the service you have done. All right. Well, would you look at that? It's exactly 5:30. So we're now going to go into our second meeting of the day, which is a public hearing for our 22-23 budget revision. And we're gonna start here at exactly 5:30, and we're gonna go right into that. Dr. Anderson, please.
President Kidman, members of the governing board, Ms. Wilson, our business manager, will provide an update and information on the budget revision for the 22-23 fiscal year.
Good evening, everyone. Let's see if this works. Yes. Superintendent Anderson, President Kidman, and the rest of the board members. I'm here to present our only and first revision to our fiscal year 23 budget. Last you've seen this was the adopted we did back in July. So we've done really well. We only have one revision this year. So let's get started. What I'm going to cover is the trend of our ADM, which is our average daily membership, the revision of our general budget limit, our M&O budget, our impact day budget, district additional assistant fund, classroom site fund, and all the other special projects that we cover here at Paige Unified. So to start with, our ADM trends. This is the number of students that we actually get paid for at our base level funding. As you can see, we kind of go up and we go down. But when we did the proposed in July, we knew that GCOA was opening. So we predicted that we'd lose. At that time, they had a waiting list up to 150 kids. Well, I don't know if you know, but the building didn't open when they wanted it to, so some of the students didn't arrive. So we got those students back, which helped us. So when I'm doing the revision now, we are actually only 15 under what we were, 16 under what we were last year at this time. So that's really good for funding for our page. Let's see. So our general budget limit. Okay, that's made up of all these factors here. The revenue control limit is the amount that we're allowed to spend, the maximum amount in that area, and that comes from property taxes, and it also comes from the equalization assistance, the state funding. So you can see that when I'm doing this revision, I'm recapturing because our ADM went up. That's why we are doing this, that we can recapture more money back. It went up about 700, I got it here. $798,000, 610 is the actual amount. Our district additional assistance, which is also part of M&O, did not go up. That stayed just level. Tuition obviously stayed the same. That's what we taken from preschool and from the students that we get from Big Water. So when you saw multiple AFR revisions, we had corrections that the auditors wanted to see. Well, that brought our budget carryover up, so we are thankful for that. So we gained back almost $350,000 for there. Prop 123 went up just a few thousand. So our actual general budget limit is $21,868,380, which is an increase of over $1.1 million. So that's a great benefit to us. Okay, moving on, our M&O budget, that's what we mostly run our district with, right? Our maintenance and operation. So here you can see the difference from our adopted to our revised. The salaries went up just maybe a little bit over 300,000. So that's pretty close prediction for when you're talking in the millions of dollars. Our benefits actually went down. That's because our J1s don't take all our benefits. They don't have to have Social Security. They aren't allowed to take the retirement. So, but when we do the proposed budget, I do it as if everybody's taking the benefits. So it's kind of almost like a little savings account for the future, but it's the best way to figure it. So that went down. Our purchase services went up close to 700,000. Supplies went up, which is good. That means more stuff going into our classrooms. And our just overall other went up, but just a little bit. Okay, so that comes to our total amount that we're allowed to spend of that over 20 million. Okay, so I just have a little pie here. You can get a basic idea where most of our M&O budget goes. You can see that predominantly it is salaries. The next biggest chunk is benefits, but we all know, I mean, most districts run at about 80% is what covers salary and benefits is what makes up their M&O. Impact aid, it's the other source, big source of revenue that we get. This is to replace the property tax revenue we do not receive for anybody living on impacted lands. So I'm just giving you a breakdown here of how we spent the money that they have given us. You can see that we reduced the amount of salaries. That was, Dr. Anderson wanted to limit the amount of salaries that came out of there so that we just put our specials, we put our core classes more in our main maintenance operation budget, which makes sense. Benefits, as you can see, went down too. Purchase services went up. A lot of that has to do, there's a lot of sped services. We have to pay a lot of speech therapy, all sorts of extra services. Supplies, that actually went down. We took that out of impact aid. We put it more into maintenance and operations. Our furniture and equipment and technology budget also went down. And our other went up. Some of that's just some of the maintenance stuff that you're seeing around that we've had to do repairs and fixing. So there you go. So we have our contingency at this point. Now that's even changed since I've done this PowerPoint. It shows that we still have a remaining balance of just over 7 million. But since then, we've had more maintenance projects come through, some more technology. I did this like mid-April. So that has also gone down. But our overall budget for 23, from when we did it in 22, at the end of 22 was 11 million. This year it is 12 million. We got a little bit more from impact aid. Okay, so here you go again, a little bit of a breakdown. It's a little more even in impact aid. You can see we do have a big chunk in salaries and benefits, but there's a little bit more spread around because impact aid, it's more expenses are allowable in impact aid than they are in maintenance and operations. Maintenance operations, we can't even buy technology, instructional aids, those all have to come from either impact aid or your capital budget. Speaking of our capital budget and where all that comes from, this isn't also a part of M&O, but it is the small part that we are allowed to buy our instructional aids and some technology. So here, the increase is just slight. And when I did the revision, it only went up just over $1,500, but hey, we'll take what we get. So you can see it just went from $2,044,484 to $2,046,051. Our adjustment, that's when we get our budget 75. That is given out in November. The state looks at what we've done and they make their adjustments on what we've provided with ADM and everything. And their adjustment was to give us an extra $37.11. So we'll take that. Let's see, prior expenditure, pretty much even on that, what we did. So basically overall, we just are saying we're operating with just a little bit more than we did when we did the adopted in July. Classroom site fund. This is the one that can be tapped in only by teachers and well, other certified staff now. This is where we get their raises and where their professional development is paid up for out of. So our prior year budget, our adopted, was, you can see it's pretty much almost exactly the same. I think we picked up just over 200,000 more. And you know, pretty close to what the same is. Not much change there. Finally, same with our special projects. This just is giving you an idea how much money we receive and what we're working with through the year. Our federal projects is our Title I or Title II. And I separated out our ESSER this year that we were working on. And this is old from in April, but 692 is what we have left in ESSER. I think we've even spent more of that down. Can't remember what it was, a bust, something else we were looking at that was another large chunk since I've done this. But it's I think it's just under 600,000 available ESSER funds right now. Other state projects that we've spent 111,000. Our food service every year, this year it's $1.6 million. And what we spend in Career Tech is 704,000. So, do you guys have any questions on changes from adopted to the present? Question?
All right, thank you, Mrs. Wilson, for giving us that budget presentation. We're gonna adjourn the public hearing now at 5. Oh, yes, thank you. I was just gonna ask if, yeah, okay. Okay, we don't have any public comments for the, public hearing, and we're gonna adjourn at 5:40. And then we're gonna call our regular meeting to order at 5:41. And we're gonna start with the roll call. Dr. Anderson, want to start us off?
Bryce Anderson.
Mike Mangum.
Chuck Weiss.
Sandra Kidman?
Desiree Beller. Bunny Cochran. Barb Shields.
Okay, thank you. Our next item will be a pledge of allegiance, and I will lead us today in the pledge of allegiance, and the flag's right there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining us in that. And then we're gonna have a moment of silent meditation, please. Thank you very much. We're gonna go to item E, which is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion and a second for that, please.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. All in favor of approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Brings us to announcements and comments. Do you have a particular rating on it?
All right. A public comment concerning facility services personnel and instruction are not heard by the board until the district's due processes and procedures are followed. Forms for filing a complaint are available at the superintendent's office. To address the board, please fill out a blue card or give to the superintendent. The board reserves the right to limit public comment to restraint to 3 minutes.
Did you have any for this meeting? No? Okay. Anyway, but if in the future you'd like to address us, fill out a blue card and we'll listen to you. So, alrighty, thank you. Takes us to special business, one of my favorite parts of the meeting, where we're gonna recognize our employees of the month, and Mrs. Rick Fowler is gonna start us off with that.
Yadesh Kadosh Dene Konan Kano Yahiki by Cadence and Dokon Kiltahano Floniki. They quite the hot lately Kabal Kato Kandak Nashiki. If you had now the ability to if you had Kadini Dole Kon Kano Yaki. Good evening, thank you again, and I just want to say my appreciation to all those of you that are here present. We're going to go ahead and start off with our April recipients for certified it says Employee of the Month for the Page Unified School District. First, we have Brian Henderson. I'd like to ask Julia Redmond to join me.
To say no comment.
Okay. Since coming in as Lakeview's principal, Brian has done an awesome job uniting and motivating the staff. I feel respected as an educator under his leadership, and I enjoy working for him. He has done a lot to create a positive climate at Lakeview. Not only does the staff appreciate him, but the students love to tell him jokes and give him hugs when they see him in their classroom or walking in the halls. Lakeview is lucky to have him.
Thank you again, Mr. Henderson, appreciate it.
All right, I already lost it. A minute, okay. Hendrickson, nominated by Mary Kate Mikla.
I'll read it for Mary Kate.
Okay, thank you.
Jimena has been working on pretty much everything that happens at LVP. She puts up and takes down amazing decorations every season and/or holiday, making the hallways beautiful. In December, the Polar Express filled the hallway, complete with passengers featuring pictures of our students. For Valentine's Day, students were the sweets in a large box of chocolates. She worked very hard on a haunted house for the fall festival. She carves out time out of her daily busy schedule to be available for helping students, making materials, keeping the workroom tidy, and completing several other extra duties. She shows compassion and helpfulness towards coworkers. Congratulations, Jimena.
Excuse me, aren't you one of our graduates as well?
Yes, she is.
So moving on to our May recipients. For our certified, we have Robin Wingrove, and I believe Sarah Adson. I'm gonna hand you the mic.
Good evening, everyone. I actually had a theme song to play when she came in, but changed my mind. So it was the Eye of the Tiger. So for Robin, I just want to say that I believe all employees should be recognized daily. However, today I'd like to nominate Ms. Wingrove. I've been extremely impressed by her leadership, work ethics, and her enthusiastic attitude. She shines whether motivating me to take better care of myself. She does daily. To her work ethics, motivating me to take care of myself, or working through obstacles in school financing. Her ability to listen to what is needed and quickly delivering a solution is what is needed daily. Her quote, "You are responsible for every result in your life. If you want different results, you have to change your thoughts and actions for positive results." I appreciate her dedication to our district, and I want to say thank you, Robin. She's made my work very, very, she impacts all of us daily, so it's been wonderful working with her.
Congratulations. For our classified, we have Natalie Kawano. She was nominated by Clarissa Beishlagai. I don't think either of them are here, right? Okay. I nominated Natalie because she is the glue to the preschool community. She goes above and beyond at remembering and celebrating staff's birthdays, attending to our students and their needs. And she is always vibrant and friendly with everyone who walks through the preschool doors. We love having her, and I feel her efforts should definitely be highlighted. So that is for Natalie. Thank you again, Natalie. Congratulations.
And don't take off quite yet. We'll have Steve take pictures of you after we do. Or can you do it right now with them, please? Okay. And then students don't run away either until you get your picture taken, okay? All right. Now we get to recognize our students of the month, and Mr. Chuck Weiss is going to do that.
All right, I have the pleasure of announcing our students here. Is Georgia Corvillis here today? Not here, okay. Georgia comes into class ready to be excited to learn. She is aware of all the students and attentive to their needs. When a problem arises, she is quick to find a solution and make sure everyone is happy. She's eager to learn and try new things. When a new activity or subject is presented, she sits quietly and listens to the instructions and asks questions and is willing to share her thoughts. She is fun to have in class. Thank you, Georgia Corvillis. Chloe Slim, nominated by Julia Redmond from Lakeview Primary. Would you like?
I guess I nominate a lot of people. All right. I said I would like to nominate Chloe Slim as Student of the Month or Year because she's the best. Chloe started out the school year as one of the most shy and timid students I've ever had. She was very sweet, but very in her shell. As the school year has gone on, I've been able to see Chloe blossom. Not only has she been rocking her academics, but she has also been putting herself out there in ways I would have never thought she would. She ran for student council and won, and seeing her face when she won was the greatest thing I've ever seen as a teacher. It was so cute, so sweet. She volunteered for a part in the second grade play and also got that. She participates in class and is a leader for her classmates. She always shows pride, is always kind, and always does her best. I can't wait to see what Chloe does next.
All right. Next we have Desert View Intermediate School. Kenzie Ross, nominated by Mr. Stoney. Mr. Stoney here today? All right, come on, Kenzie. Kenzie is a very responsible, motivated, and confident student. In addition to being a great student, she is a friend to her classmates. It is my privilege to nominate Kenzie as our Student of the Month. All right, congratulations. All right, next we have Page Middle School, Cora Tappan, nominated by Heather Saavedra.
So I came up here to speak for Ms. Heather Saavedra. And just in reflection, I remember the first time that I met Ms. Cora. It was virtual. She was one of our virtual students. And she stood out then and she still stands out now as an exceptional student. So Cora was nominated by Ms. Heather Saavedra. She is a resident in Page, Arizona, and is the daughter of Levi and Hillary Tappan. She was selected for her academics, character, attitude, and a demonstration of what it means to be a PMS Panther who meets our pride expectations. Cora has proven to be an excellent student on a daily basis. She is intelligent, trustworthy, and responsible. Cora is always optimistic and is a great role model to her peers. It has been a pleasure to have her and watch her become more confident as each day progresses. I am very proud of this student and I'm sad to see her leave high school. She will go far with her education because of her great grades and her wonderful attitude. Keep up the great work, Cora.
Good job.
All right, next we have Page High School, Aaliyah Henderson, nominated by our teacher, Susan Tucker.
Aaliyah is not here. She's a little under the weather. Ms. Tucker had to say, Aaliyah Henderson is a senior in my art class. Aaliyah is recognized by Ms. Tucker as being an outstanding, creative, sensitive, and visionary artist. Aaliyah recently competed in the City of Page art contest with a molded portrait that took several weeks to complete. She ended up taking first place for her work and accepting a blue ribbon from the art committee for her piece. Aaliyah plans on getting a degree in business, opening up a cool coffee shop with an art studio above it, and continuing her wonderful artistic skills. Aaliyah Henderson.
Okay, next we have Manson Mesa, Diaz Brown.
Student of the Month for Manson Mesa High School is Diaz Brown, nominated by Spencer Campbell, Rajlan Magpaseo Bunch, and Jeremy Poole. Our school became a better place when Diaz Brown enrolled here. She is a great student and leader by example. She quickly became a great example to other students that with hard work comes tremendous benefits. In just half of the school year, she has accumulated a very long list of course credits earned and may even graduate a year early as a result of her efforts. It's a privilege for us teachers and staff to work with a student such as Diaz Brown. Congratulations to Diaz Brown. And I'm going to have Laylene Daw come on up. Laylene is the Student of the Month for Sage and Sand Virtual Academy. Laylene, 8th grade, is SSVA Student of the Month. Laylene has shown throughout the year what a capable and focused student she is with her great grades and progress in all her courses. Laylene always turns in very thorough and detailed work, showing her excellence as a Sage and Sand student. Congratulations to Laylene Daw, nominated by Jeremy Poole. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All righty, thanks so much for coming, students. We'd love to get your picture taken. Mr. Law's right there. He'll take your picture out in the lobby, and then we'll feature you in one of our upcoming newsletters. Thanks for making USD great. Okay, that brings us to item C, recognition and approval of donations made to the district. We have the following donations from DC's SOCI to Page High School Navajo Language Club, a monetary donation of $1,110.51. Then also from Airgas to Page High School Welding and Miller Trailblaze Welder, valued at $10,695. We'd like to thank everybody that has donated to our school district. We need a motion to approve the donations.
I'll make a motion to approve donations as presented.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous, thank you. Okay, that brings us to our governing board reports. Mike, let's have you start off.
I had the opportunity this last week to attend Desert View's talent show and their Groove Cats program concert. Just want to give a huge shout out to Desert View and the teachers and staff. Pretty amazing. Get up there and make fools of themselves and have a good time with the kids. It was pretty cute to see all the effort and hard work that they put into that. So that's all I've got.
Thank you. Mike? Did you have any? No? Okay. I also had the chance to attend said concert. Glow in the Dark is always fabulous. I don't know what it is about glow in the dark, but it's just silly, and it was a good time, and the kids, you could tell, thoroughly enjoyed themselves. Also want to thank everybody, their efforts they're putting in for our elementary track meets. Always exciting stuff happening. Did we break any new records today? No? Close? Okay. Anyway, I know some of those are still in the 80s, from 1980. Some of those records have not been broken yet. I want to just thank you for all the stuff you guys are doing. These last few weeks of school are always exciting, but also lots of hard work with all these field trips and everything going on. So thank you. Sheree?
I was just going through my photos to see if I missed anything. But it looks like I haven't been too busy. The only thing that I did participate with is the cultural exchange trip that the Navajo Language Unity Club took to Bobacare Unified School District. The superintendent was pretty awesome, and the student council actually welcomed our students and gave them a tour of the campus and the district office. So it was very welcoming and also pretty unique to see the similarities. And then also as far as like their J1 teachers, quite a few Filipino teachers as well. So it was pretty unique, like I mentioned. And then also just a lot of information that was shared between the student council and the students themselves of how to better advocate and utilize their student voice, and just overall it was a really good experience.
Okay, then we'll turn the time over to our superintendent for his reports and comments.
President Kidman, members of the governing board, just a couple of things. The district did have an opportunity as a team of staff to meet with the Navajo Nation to do our spring tribal consultation. The most amazing thing to reflect back on is it was the first in-person tribal consultation that took place since 2019. It was nice to be face-to-face and be able to engage in the dialogue rather than doing it over a computer screen. The other piece had an opportunity to attend the Education Forward Page Community Forum hosted by Coconino Community College. And at that, some data was presented, and I included it in my board report for your review. What was really striking is work that's being done out of the Helios Foundation. It talked or has done significant research on earning potential based upon education attainment. And that struck me. A high school graduate over the course of their lifetime is slated to earn $679,000, compared to somebody with a bachelor's degree of $1,531,000. So I did provide that information sheet to my board report. If you'd like to learn more or talk more about it, I'd be happy to do that. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. Brings us to item number 7, unfinished business. We do not have any of that today. And then we're going to item 8, the governing board consent agenda. A copy of the consent agenda is available at the district administration office. All items listed will be considered as a unit by the governing board and will be approved with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay,
I second it.
okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain due to a conflict of interest. Okay. All right. Thank you. So. All right. All right, that brings us to calendar of events. Item 9, just pull that up real quick here. All right. Looks like we have a few items coming up. We got graduation on May 17 for Manson Mesa and our virtual academy. Then May 20th, Page High School graduation, 7 o'clock, right? And we need to be there when?
Before 6:45.
Before 6:45. Okay. Let's see, then, also have Summer Leadership Institute coming up. All right, that brings us to additional agenda items. Number 10, we're gonna start off with, approval of our 22-23 budget revision. I need a motion and a second so we can discuss it.
I'll make a motion to approve the 22-23 budget revision.
Okay,
I say.
thank you. Dr. Anderson?
President Kidman, members of the governing board, this is the formal action item based upon the presentation that Ms. Wilson gave to the board on the first revision of the 22-23 budget.
Alrighty. We had a nice presentation. We didn't have any questions then. Do we have any questions now? Okay, then I'll call, did I see any questions then? No? We're good? Okay, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye, unanimous. Okay, thank you. Brings us to item 10B is discussion and possible approval of the 2023 ASB political agenda. So I need a motion and a second so we can start discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 ASBA political agenda as presented.
Okay, sounds good. Let's pull that up. Have a second?
A second.
Okay, thank you. All right, Dr. Anderson.
President Kidman, members of the governing board, this is the Arizona School Board Association's 2023 political agenda. Having reviewed the document, I'd just like to point out some critically important pieces to our district. The first one in the first area, which talks about adequately and equitably funding districts to at least the national median per pupil. Arizona falls well below the national median for per pupil funding. But critically within this political agenda is the call to amend the constitutional aggregate expenditure limit to reflect current education funding levels and priorities via legislative referral to the voters. As you all know, there is a cap set on how much districts can spend. That cap was put in place back in 1983 via a initiated measure. We have grown well beyond that cap and have had to sweat it out in having the legislature take action to waive or rescind that cap so districts can fully spend their budgets. Many of you may hear on the news talk about if that cap were not elevated, we would end up likely having to cease school in April because we wouldn't have the capacity to spend the rest of our budget. One of them that's near and dear to me is fully funding kindergarten. Right now, the district only receives a half a day in terms of funding for full day K, or for the full day of kindergarten that we offer. We end up picking up the other half out of our M&O budget to afford our kindergarten students the full day experience. A big one for me is eliminating unfunded mandates and administrative burdens. And what that really talks to is passing legislation that requires districts to do things, but not attaching funding to support the districts in doing it. So we end up having to expend funds to address those mandates. Receive adequate funding for the actual costs of services. This is important to me because it talks about rural and remote areas. Conduct an exceptional student services cost study to ensure students, including in rural and remote areas, receive adequate funding for the actual costs of their services. I can tell you right now that we are not receiving the actual costs of services from the state to provide those services. Maintenance of school bus routes for rural schools. This is an important one because this also has a financial implication on the district. The cost of wear and tear on our buses, the amount of miles that are driven is truly a challenge. And the ASBA is looking to engage not just the state of Arizona, because a number of our bus routes are not maintained by the state of Arizona, they're maintained by the Navajo Nation. I'm hoping that ASBA is also going to be working with Navajo Nation to try and affect change related to bus routes. And I know there is that will be part of the Summer Leadership Institute, if I'm not mistaken. Provide district with appropriate stable annual budget stability. The current system that we operate on is current year funding. That makes it difficult to anticipate for next year in terms of staffing. If there is a drastic reduction or a drastic increase in students, it doesn't put us in a place to be able to plan for that because we've got to be getting ready for next school year now. We can't wait until school starts to staff classrooms. When it comes to preserve and strengthen local control, I'm a firm believer in opposing any legislation that intends to lessen or curtail the legal authority of this elected school board. That is a critical piece for me. Our school board knows what the city of Page and the surrounding area needs and needs to be able to have the autonomy to operate in that way. Improving outcomes for all students. As you know, attendance from my vantage point is improving attendance is the key to improving student outcomes. Students can't learn if they're not in classrooms. part of this legislative agenda calls to increase the compulsory attendance age from 16 to 18 years of age, where we actually can compel. The other side of that, though, is we also have to have some teeth to ensure that we make sure that we hold families accountable for getting their students to school as appropriate. Fully restore the 9th and 13th grade CTED eligibility and funding. A number of years ago, they restricted or reduced funding for freshmen participating in CTE programs. I can tell you out of our CTE programs, students are graduating with multiple certifications. So this is an important one for me. I truly appreciate on this legislative agenda that they also have Arizona's rural and remote schools highlighted, ensuring that students in Arizona small and rural and remote schools are considered by policymakers alongside large metropolitan areas. Sometimes the focus becomes on the large metropolitan areas and not on the rural and remote areas. Protecting rural and remote school districts from inequitable impact due to formula adjustments. Smaller districts tend to be impacted in a more significant way when they start tinkering with budget adjustments. And then the last one, and I could read through all of them, but school safety and security is of the utmost importance for us to support this. So as I've gone through the political agenda, there's nothing that I would recommend we revise, remove. It's all important to providing the best quality education to our students.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any comments or additions that you want to make?
I just think that it's great that we're pinpointing all of these as well, because it also understanding that the association and the executive board and board of directors also see a higher need for rural communities, and just the inequitable funding that is available to public school here is pretty interesting. But also, we feel that now that we have Governor Hobbs and also legislation, I think we are gonna see good things happening. So I honestly think this is great for ASBA.
And if I may just echo that, that has not always been the focus of ASBA. And I see a lot tied to rural and remote communities, specifically our community. So I appreciate that.
We're making our voices heard here.
Okay, great. Anything else? Okay, then let's vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Unanimous, thank you. Okay, brings us to item C. Discussion and possible approval of the MOU with Candlein. Let's see, I need a motion to approve the MOU.
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU with Candlein.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Anderson.
President Kidman, members of the governing board, this has been in the works for a couple of months. I know we've talked about it at a study session, but this memorandum of understanding formalizes the agreement between the district and Candlein in extending or adding a preschool grant-funded classroom that will hopefully better serve the community. We're looking at this classroom having extended hours and also operating outside of our traditional classroom. This is a real interesting opportunity. They already have 2 classrooms in operation in Flagstaff, and I'm glad that it's being brought to the community of Page.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions, comments? Ready to vote? Okay, I'll call for the vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous. Okay, here comes a very emotional item. Sorry. It's the discussion and possible approval of Dust Devils as the middle school mascot. I need a motion and a second so we can get this on the path.
I'll make a motion to approve the Dust Devil as the middle school mascot.
Okay, do a second.
I second.
All right, Dr. Anderson.
President Kidman, members of the governing board, I would ask Ms. Moore, who has been really gathering data and input around this recommendation. Ms. Moore, would you be willing to talk through the process?
Good evening, President Kidman, Dr. Anderson. The battery's dead.
No.
Members of the governing board.
You have to just kind of wait a second and then we'll.
I'm pushing the button. Okay, thank you all for having me again. It's been an honor to work through this with Dr. Anderson and the middle school community, as well as the Page community and the surrounding areas. We have put out several surveys since October on this topic, with the last one being in February and closing in March. It was sent out electronically, it was on the website, and it was taken out to chapter house meetings via student support services. So you do have the data in front of you. It's the same data that I presented at the study session last month. When asked, 704 people did respond to the survey, and 66.5% of them did vote in favor of a Dust Devil mascot. Now, we did include the Sand Devil mascot for the middle school on there as well, with your recommendation from the previous study session, and 17.5% of the population voted for that as well. With only 15.9 voting in favor to keep the Panther mascot. So an overwhelming majority did vote to change, to unify the high school and the middle school, with the majority being for the Dust Devils. So since then, we have had a really cool opportunity to work with the high school graphic design class to create a rough draft of the mascot. The one in front of you is actually the second revision. Erin Haney was the one that created this at the high school, and we did take it to the middle school student council to get their feedback. And while they were all very happy with it, they did want to tweak it. So we fixed the ears, and we fixed the eyes, and we fixed the toes. And so this is the second draft. It has not gone back to student council yet, but tonight I do believe it would be voting for the change. The one on the, yes, the other one's the Sand Devil. So I just wanted to show the comparison between the two, because the idea is that they're growing up from the Dust Devil to the Sand Devil. So the approval would just be for the mascot change, and then the logo, we're still in the works. That's still a fluid process. Do we have any questions about the mascot change?
No, we're ready to vote.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the vote before is all in favor to change, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You have a,
I'm gonna abstain.
you're gonna abstain?
Yeah.
Ready?
Nay.
Okay, did you get that? All right, sounds good. All right, thank you. Let's see, we're to item E. Discussion and possible approval to go out for the Targeted Support Improvement Grant and Comprehensive Support Improvement. Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve.
I'll make a motion to pursue the TSI grant.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson.
President Kidman, members of the governing board, this is a requirement of the Arizona Department of Education for us to pursue this grant. It must be approved by the governing board. This is to support student outcomes and continue to refine and improve specifically around our subgroup data. The TSI, Targeted Support Improvement Grant, is for multiple schools. The CSI is for Lakeview Primary only.
Any questions, comments? No? You ready to vote? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous, thank you. All right, that brings us to an informational item, which is Regulation FJABDA, following updated policies from March 14th. Dr. Anderson?
President Kidman, members of the governing board, that's exactly that. A regulation comes to the board not for approval, but just as an information item. This is a lagging regulation that goes along with policy JFABDA, admission of students in foster care that has been previously approved. This brings the regulation in line with the statutory changes that were made regarding to that policy.
Okay, any questions?
No.
No? Okay, future I don't have current future agenda items, but just a reminder, as discussed at our work study session, make sure to get your future agenda items in 5 business day before the next meeting.
Can I just add the Indian policy procedure to the study session? That's something that we had mentioned to bring back to June.
Okay, you got that? Okay. Anything else?
Would be May, so that it's, May, so that it's
It doesn't get approved until next January.
June. We said we would revisit, right, the policy?
And we were gonna come back with it in the fall, yes.
Okay, well, we'll just look out, see how busy we are, whether we put it in May or June. Okay. Okay. Good, anything else?
That's it.
You good, anything else? No? All right. We are now gonna excuse everybody so we can go into executive session. You're welcome to stay out in the lobby and wait for us to adjourn afterwards. Either way is fine. But we do need to have a motion and a second to go into executive session.
I make the motion to go into executive session.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, thank you. Okay, give it a couple of minutes. Do we want to sit down there? Well, I mean, that wasn't
I'll chase them down.
Right back.